Hey, it's Matthew Britt with Food Forest Abundance coming at you from Canada. Thank you so much to Dro TV. Had an awesome time on the show today. Check us out.
Welcome to My First Time, the show about your first time getting high on marijuana. I'm your host, Mike Freeman with Dro TV, and I'd like to welcome our guest, Matt Britt from Food Forest Abundance. What's happening, Matt?
Hey, Mike. So great to be here, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, thank you. This is going to be a great episode because what Food Forest is up to and doing is a great thing for everybody. So I can't wait to get into that. But let our audience know a little bit about yourself and where you're located and what you got going on.
Yeah, sure, man. I'm a Canadian, so I live in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada currently. My wife and I are here. We have two children, one about 5 months old here very soon, the other one almost 3 years old. So we're right in the thick of raising little humans, which is tremendous. And maybe one day they can watch their dad talk about the first time he got high, which would be pretty cool, I think, in the future. But in the meantime, I moved to Ottawa in my early 20s from Thunder Bay, Ontario. I came here to go to school, but who was I kidding? I didn't really give a shit about school. I got into the tourism industry because I wanted to travel. So I took tourism and travel in school, and at the same time started working at the college gym and loved that. That was a great job while you're going to college. Work at the school gym. You got, that's where a lot of it was kind of like working in a nightclub kind of deal, a little bit. So it was a lot of fun. Ended up dropping out of college with, I think I only needed 2 credits left to actually complete my course, but I just wasn't really interested in that. Truthfully, I wanted to travel, but didn't want to be working as my profession and being able to travel, just too restrictive. So ended up actually moving full-time into the fitness world. Awesome. Prior to getting into the fitness world and moving here for university or for college, I'd wanted to be a pro athlete. So I had already had the experience of the weight training and working with coaches and all that kind of stuff. But shoulder separations got the better of me. So the dream of being a pro hockey player and soccer player kind of fell out the window. And it was just an easy transition into working in the fitness club. So I did that for a number of years as a personal trainer, moved up into management, had a lot of fun in that world. And then I ended up leaving all of that behind to go full-time into the network marketing industry, which was also a tremendous experience. Went full-time in network marketing in 2010, built up a multi-million-dollar business inside of a few years in that industry, had a ton of success. And just as fast as our company went up, it actually came back down again. So it showed me, taught me a lot of lessons about leadership and leadership lit and being able to make a positive impact and focusing on making a difference as opposed to making money and really what that can do for your life. And it also really showed me going up, making a few $1 million and then losing that kind of money, really what was important to you and what didn't really matter, and how it's so easy to get distracted by stuff and things and being able to have all the things that when you have, money really isn't kind of the issue anymore, and how little those things actually mean to your life. So tremendous lessons inside of that. And after, going through some of that learning experience there, I had a t-shirt company for a while called Let's Hug It Out. Had a very simple mission. It was to spread hugs, positive vibes, and happiness around the world simply by wearing a shirt. Nice. Which was a ton of fun. And I hope to actually revive that business at some point soon. I think the world is in need of a big, giant hug right now. Sure. and then got into the solar space. So I went down the solar industry path for about 5 years and really, again, had no business being in solar, no experience in it, but just saw that there was a tremendous opportunity to help transition people to producing some of their own energy on site. And after doing that for the 5 years, just recently I made a transition to this organization, which you referenced earlier, called Food Forest Abundance. So that's kind of where I call home now. And I really believe that I have found that thing that I can completely integrate into my lifestyle It's in line with how I think about the world. It's all about creating abundance, freedom, getting out from underneath the heavy hand of government control, and really establishing maybe what turns into be a breakaway economy, and helps people create more food security for themselves, help their dollar stretch further, and on and on and on. So we have something really tremendous here, and I'm extremely thankful to be a part of it. And that's how actually you and I connected. So that has already led me to a lot of other incredible people. And like I said, every day I'm very thankful that I get to wake up and help spread our mission around the world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure our listeners will be very interested in food forest abundance. So before we get into that, the show is my first time.
Yeah.
So Matt, please let us know about the first time you got high.
All right. So this is hey parents, if you're watching this, it was okay. So this happened in just the summer of going into grade 9. So I just finished grade 8 and was going into grade 9, and
Okay.
hanging out with a group of guys who they had already been into smoking pot. They were skateboarders and into the punk rock music and all that stuff, which eventually I became 100% down that path too. Just didn't skateboard a whole lot, but definitely into the punk rock and the metal and all that type of music. But hanging out with these guys, we were over at a friend's house, and next thing you know, the oil comes out. So it wasn't even flour that I smoked first.
Okay.
It was oil. And as you're well aware, when you smoke oil, you actually have to put tobacco in it typically, right? So there's a little bit of tobacco applied to every one of those oil cigarettes, whatever they want to call them, oil joints. And there was 5 of us, and they rolled 5 of those joints. So we smoked a very large amount. They had all smoked before, as I mentioned, but myself and the other close friend of mine, Chris was his name, we had not smoked before. So it was our first time. And as you're well aware, when you smoke both oil and mixed tobacco in there, it can be I wasn't smoking cigarettes at that point in my life. So that adds a whole other level of flair and wildness to that experience, to the point that, for the first little while, you're giggling, but shortly thereafter, for myself, at least in specific, the impact of the nicotine and the tobacco and all that stuff started kicking in. So what started off as a phenomenal fun time very quickly took a hard left and got a little more onto ooh, this doesn't feel so good. Ooh, maybe I'm gonna be sick. Ooh, so it went from a tremendous fun experience to the toilet. You get my drift, right? Ended up throwing up, and just overall not being that pleasant. That ended up going by real quick, and sure enough, you're back to the feeling high and good again. But the small speed bump of the nicotine interruption was definitely not an enjoyable experience overall. But I'll always remember that one.
Yeah, I guess. Did your friend Chris, did he have the similar experience?
Yeah, both Chris and I weren't feeling too hot for a little while there, as like I said, the nicotine and the tobacco. Who knows what other chemicals are hiding inside that tobacco, right? But overall, it just doesn't make you feel good, especially on the first time.
How long until flour was used?
It wasn't long.
Okay.
That was
So it didn't scare you. It
didn't scare me. It didn't turn me away. That actually probably didn't happen for another 6 months. Like, it was once I was already in high school that I started, like, I did smoke again, and it was flour. Oil was not around very often. I was in Thunder Bay at that time, so it was actually easy to find both of those things. But it was more of a niche, so to speak, to get your oil, right? Something you had to search for a little bit differently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a tour, my record label, we did a tour in Switzerland a few years back, and they put tobacco in with the weed because they want to, like, calm the weed down a bit. And I'm like, man, if you did that in America, I'd probably slap you for it. So
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
was,
well,
it was
and
weird
also,
too.
yeah, I think it's slow, like, it changes the burn, right? The tobacco burns a little more consistently And that has something to do with, I'm sure, the chemicals that they put into it. Whereas obviously the marijuana, you can end up canoeing all over the place and burning in different spots depending on how it actually
Yeah.
smokes. I think that's one of the reasons why they do it too.
Cool. Well, yeah, I guess that'll be a good story for the future when the little tykes are old enough.
Yeah,
Maybe they ask if you've ever done it. You can show them this one, and this will be the dare program for your kids.
absolutely. Yeah, this will be the get us on a level playing field here.
Yeah. So food forest abundance. Please, if you can give us a little information on that and why everybody should want to know about food forest abundance.
Yeah, well, today, as most everyone is aware of, we have supply chain issues, we have food quality issues, we have our dollars not going as far, we have pandemics, things that are causing problems that really create an opportunity for every one of us to start taking more control of our own lives, taking more responsibility over us and the direction that we're going. Because as you can see, when we keep everything in the hands of someone else, they don't care for you the exact same way as you care for you, or at least should. And because of that, we end up, accepting whatever it is they want us to have instead of us being in control. So when you look at, healthcare, for example, what they want us to have is toxic prescription chemicals, right? But does that truly help you have absolute vitality and health? Not sure. And same goes for with our food. With our food production today, there are a lot of toxic chemicals, oftentimes made by similar companies and similar industries, that get sprayed all over our food. And the question again becomes, is that the best thing for your health? And I would argue that absolutely it is more on the other side of the scale. It's probably one of the worst things you can do for your health. So if we acknowledge that there's some real problems all around us when it comes to our health, our food supply, our dollar, our government control, et cetera, then we realize that we have to take some of these things back into our own control. And one of the solutions that is available to everybody is to grow your own food. And with the science of permaculture and the ability to work in harmony with nature and get yourself set up in such a way that it is less maintenance than what you may typically be used to caring for a lawn, there's a way here to actually grow your own food, which is healthier, which isn't covered in the toxic chemicals, which is, literally can be picked from said bush or tree or from the ground or whatever, and have it go like from farm to table and have that be a tremendously valuable positive impact on both you and your health. It's like applying the air mask to your own face as the plane's going down, right? First, before you start helping other people. Well, similar kind of analogy here. If you start producing more food for yourself, it's more healthy, it's better, you're consuming it, you're feeling better. Now that feeling better starts radiating out into your family, into your friends, into your community, et cetera, you become a shining example of what's possible by doing things like this. So what Food Forest Abundance has done has made this what typically could be considered a complex thing, producing your own food. We've found a way to simplify it. And we use the science of permaculture. So we have experts inside our company who do the design work, which is really where the most important piece to the permaculture puzzle is. What's the design that's going to go on a person's property that integrates all the specific plants, and they're in stacks. So you have like from your ground cover to your small shrubs and small bushes and small trees and blah, 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 right? So you've got multiple layers. So in what typically is a monoculture section of earth, for example, with your grass, or if you're growing kind of a typical garden, you have one row of something and then another row of something, another row of something. So typically you have one thing. In permaculture, we stack the functions. So we have in that same area, we can have 7, 8, 10 things, whereas typically we'd have one. So we're more efficient in that way. So our production becomes higher. And that's where the design really comes into play. So you mesh both with what already works in harmony in nature in that particular climate zone and growing area with now specific plants that work together to produce a thriving food forest that takes less maintenance than a typical lawn. Now, at first, it may take a little bit more as you're caring for it, but think a forest, once the forest is operational, nature kind of does the rest.
Right.
And this is a similar scenario. You will have nature, when it's designed right, do what nature's supposed to do and create a thriving food production spot on your own property. And you can do these things in small scale all the way up to gigantic scale. And you can do these things in the desert, and you can do these things in, northern climates. It all depends on what plants grow in those places. And there are so many more than we're ever actually really told about. It's our perception is that there's not much that are ready for human consumption. And that's because of the grocery store and the way our food production system is. But in reality, there are so many more edible plants than we really have an understanding of. And if we combine those things in the right guild and work with the science of permaculture, we can produce thriving food forests literally all over the world. And in our purview, we believe food forest equal freedom. We believe we can establish food forests in every community, in every yard around the world, and create a better health and wellness proactive system instead of a reactive, right? I'm sick and now I go see somebody and then I try to spend the rest of my life getting out of being sick. Whereas our approach is going to be, I grow my own food, I give my own food love, it's chemical free, it's toxic free, it's healthier, more vital, more life force in it that's given to me, which helps me be healthier, more vital, blah, blah, blah. And then I can expend that out on my family, my friends, my community, right, and on and on. And we're going to duplicate that process all around the world.
Awesome. Now, I'm in Orlando, so climate a little different from Ottawa. But let's say I was in a high-rise city building in Ottawa. What can food forests do for me?
So there's indoor growing, and that is 100% possible, feasible, happens. People do it all the time. And a lot of people are moving into the cities and want to be in those kind of scenarios. Truthfully, we are working more with the suburban yard and less in the downtown core per se, but there are ways for people to do things in their condo. That is not our necessarily target market though.
Okay.
We're working with the suburban home or greenscapes, right?
Sure.
Private schools, community centers, churches, boys and girls clubs, scouts, all those kind of places. For example, across the street from my house, there's 2 empty lots there that they were given by the developers to the community. And there's a few trees and some flowers in there. But other than that, it's a wasted landscape. There's no reason why that spot right across from my house isn't a thriving food productive forest that actually attracts nature, attracts birds and animal life, et cetera, and now provides some food for the community, right? We can go through, it's 2 lots. We could produce such an abundance of food for the 30 homes that live here. We probably can't really even fathom how much.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of, opportunities there.
Right.
Less about the high-rise building, although we can still help with indoor growing.
Okay. Yeah, I know a few people that are interested but they're stuck in that situation. Maybe stuck's not the right word. But their situation is different where, they don't have the ability to walk out into the backyard and plant stuff directly in the ground. What opportunities are available? I just signed on to work with Food Forest Abundance, and I'm already super excited about it. I'm learning so much from the website and the resources that are available. But someone listening and watching this podcast, Matt, what type of opportunities are available for people that want to work with Food Forest Abundance?
Well, if you believe in our mission, which is to build a free, healthy, and abundant society for generations to come with a vision of installing food forests in every yard, in every community around the world, and you like what that stands for and believe that there must be a better way forward here, we would love for you to team up with us and help promote and spread the word, because really we need people talking about better ways to do things, right? Our systems are so entrenched. At this point, we're not going to change those systems very much. We need to make new ones, new, better ones. And right now, we believe this is one of the best new systems that we can possibly create. So we have created a way that if someone loves what we stand for and they believe that this is a good way forward, we've created a way for them to be able to partner with us, become a member of our abundance community, which kind of could be called an affiliate. And from there, they can register with us so we know who they are. They have, we got all their payment information so we can send them money when they refer someone who makes a purchase. So there's no obligation, there's no money coming out of their pocket to help promote us, anything like that. And we just give a thank you bonus anytime someone makes a purchase through you promoting us. So that's one way. And Mike, since you are an affiliate, you could share that information with the group here, and they can register with you. And then the other thing is that we have our cooperative business model, which is those are the people that are installing the food in the ground. So think like a landscaping type of business. You're a permaculture food forest installation company. You don't have to be the permaculture expert, though. We have people from all walks of life joining us. This is something that I'll bring my children out to job sites and help install food, because it's simple. It's reconnecting with nature. It's getting back into harmony and alignment, etc. And this is no different. You can, as a food forest abundance cooperative partner, you literally are the one installing the food in your local market, and you're also out there promoting food forest abundance and helping people learn and get educated about the value it can add to their life and why they may want to put one onto their own property. And then from there, you're also kind of a hub in building a community of like-minded people, right? So as you get customers who are having food forests installed on their property, we're essentially building a decentralized food supply. And you as a cooperative owner can be like that hub, shining a light on all of these other food forests that have been installed and kind of unifying all of them together. So all those people that own them can be sharing tips and tricks and resources and things they understand and have learned on both caring for their property as well as maybe preserving the food or sharing the food amongst the community, all kinds of things in that way. So there's the affiliate side, there's the cooperative side, and then there's just becoming a customer and having a food forest installed on your own property, where, again, you'll have an abundance of food. It does take, year one is different than year three, and every year that food forest becomes more and more and more productive. What happens typically in year one, just to offset some of the growing time, is that we'll use annuals in year one, maybe some more annuals in year two that are mixed in with the perennial plants, so that by the time you're in year three, most of the annual plants maybe are being removed from the buy at the start of the year, and you're just now relying on your perennial plants, which grow every year. They grow a bit bigger. They, rest for the winter time, regrow every single year, bigger and bigger and bigger.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Super excited about doing some work with Food Forest Abundance. We did talk before about cannabis and how obviously it's not legal in every state yet.
We integrated into the food forest designs. People can definitely build out medicinal gardens, and we do have cannabis on the offering for sure.
Excellent. Awesome. That's what I wanted to know, because we have growers and all kinds of cannabis related people that follow us and listen to this. So excellent. Awesome.
Yeah. Let thy food be thy medicine, and let plants be thy medicine too.
Yeah. There's only thousands of years worth of history to prove that. So awesome. Matt, excellent. foodforestabundance.com. That's the best place for everyone to check it out.
Yeah, foodforestabundance.com. That's absolutely correct.
Awesome. I'll have links in the description below. My affiliate link will be in there. So if anyone's interested, it'll certainly help me out. But end of the day, get yourself sustainable where you can rely on your own food and, get your neighbors involved, and then you guys can rely on each other. And, trips to the grocery store can be fun, but it's a lot easier when you can walk out into your backyard, pull some fruit, vegetables out, and go right inside, cook them and eat them. So,
And maybe you're not feeding yourself 100%, but you're feeding yourself 20% of all your food consumption, or 50%, or whatever that number is. It's very possible to replace the grocery store. It all just depends on the person's desire, how much yard space they have, etc. But overall, anything helps. Anything helps.
absolutely. Awesome. Matt, appreciate your time today. Anything else you want to add?
Well, thanks so much for having me here. It was really a blast, and I love what you're doing. Really keep going out there and spreading the word of what people's first time was like, and how it really kind of woke them up to expand their consciousness and become more open to things. I think that's one of the best things that marijuana can do for people, is to break down some of their paradigms, shatter some walls, expand their brain a little bit, open their eyes to other possibilities. And I'm all for that.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm sure that's the reason it was illegal for as long as it was too. So
I would agree.
Sweet. That's all the dopeness we have for today. Matt, Britt, appreciate your time. Everyone go to foodforestabundance.com. Links in the description below. Thanks again for your time, Matt.
Thanks so much, Mike. Dope.
Everyone out there, have a great day. And until next time, smoke them if you got them.